afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing? Good first day? Let's go. All right, so my name is Shiv Trisal. I head up the manufacturing and energy business at Databricks. Databricks is a leading data and AI company, so we're going to talk a little bit about what that company is. But more importantly, the reason we are here today is because we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to revolutionize this industry with generative AI. To me, it represents the single biggest opportunity to boost productivity in this industry, whether it's with your employees, it's with your partners, or it's with your customers. Yet, it will not happen automatically. The age-old debate has always been, do I solve for asset efficiency, or should I solve for customer needs? I think the answer is now settled. If you look at the top decile of industrial companies today, and you benchmark how they run their operational playbooks, it's very, very clear that customer needs like quality, on-time delivery, production flexibility, lead times, and energy efficiency far outweigh the impact on enterprise value versus anything you would do in the asset efficiency realm. And on top of that, one thing to realize is disruptive events in the supply chain or in the ecosystem around you is absolutely high, at all-time high, right? Things are happening 10 times more frequent, 5 to 10 times more intense. So solving this equation is not a one-time challenge. You have to continuously optimize and deliver this capability over and over again every day. The biggest challenge to doing this, in my opinion, is mobilizing an organization's domain expertise. Number one, I'm sure you guys know this better than I do, but finding skilled workers to take the place of experienced ones is hard, but it's also getting harder. In my opinion, no amount of automation can be successful without skilled workers. Why is that? Because you need skilled workers in the short term to have automation be a reality in the long term. Companies casually refer to this domain expertise and domain knowledge of experienced workers as tribal knowledge. But there's nothing casual in the impact that an aging workforce has on this industry. At the end of the day, companies having inefficient transfer of knowledge, it isn't just painfully frustrating, it is super costly, costs tens of millions of dollars in the bottom line, and it's something that has absolutely the ability to arrest the industry's growth trajectory by a lot of things. So it's a big problem overall. Second, I feel companies in this industry are fundamentally engineering companies. But if you look at where engineers spend time, they spend less than half of their time doing active engineering work. 30% of that time is actually spent doing rework, and 40% of that time is actually spent on doing really low value-added tasks. So if you put together how much time engineers actually do engineering work, it's a very small fraction of their time. And the third issue is, and this is what C-suite executives believe, is that competition is going to come not just from their traditional competitors, but also from competitors from outside their industry. And at the end of the day, protecting what makes you unique as a company is super important. So with all of those issues, I feel general intelligence, which is generic responses using the same large language models or generative AI models that anyone can use or access, is not good enough. And in this revolutionary time of generative AI, it requires a new way to think. And that new way to think, being in Amazon Web Services, is fundamentally driven by first principles thinking, which is something that Amazon has championed for a number of years now. And the question that you've got to ask yourself is, in order for this to work, by this being generative AI, what must be true? I'm going to attempt to answer and give you my perspective on what would look like. So number one, companies need all data, whether it's structured, semi-structured, or unstructured, to be reservoirs of knowledge and context. So you've collected all of this data for years and years. Now is the time to actually put it to work. One of the most powerful things about generative AI is applying structure to inherently unstructured data. In the past, you would have had to have specialized teams required to go model data sets and build anything meaningful from raw data. Today, you can use generative AI models, which are shockingly good, to apply structure to continuously unstructured data. So, super important. The second is, how do I make the quality of information retrieval orders of magnitude better? Why is that? Because it improves the productivity of my most costly, most innovative, and most successful resource, the one that has the most outsized outcome on success of the organization, which is the engineers themselves. And third, it's super interesting to note that none of the generative AI platforms today conform to the basic requirement of keeping your data with you and keeping your data privacy in place. And fundamentally, the improper governance of generative AI means surrendering all the knowledge that makes you unique, in my opinion. So your differentiation as an organization is shaped by your unique understanding of your products, your end-use markets, and your technologies. And if you don't govern generative AI in the right way, it's pretty much giving up that advantage to the entire competition that serves the market as well. All three things form the foundation of what we at Databricks call data intelligence. Intelligence that is trained on your specific data and that has the potential to unleash the total potential of human intelligence inside of your organizations. I'll walk through how you would achieve that today, and it starts with the right platform. Databricks is the inventor of what was called the data lakehouse. It's taking data lakes, data warehouses, data lakes that house unstructured data, and data warehouses that have typically housed enterprise application data that comes neatly in rows and columns in the form of tables. Our founders have created one of the most successful open source projects that you can look at in the screen, which is Delta Lake, Apache Spark, MLflow, that have shaped the trajectory of data and AI in almost every industry. And these projects and an open foundation has really shaped our approach. In 2020, we're able to turn our vision of this data lakehouse into a reality. And today, over 3/4 of the world's CIOs are investing in building data lakehouse as the foundation for how they're going to go deliver data analytics and AI. And the unification of data and governance is the unique definition that we bring into the Databricks Lakehouse. Because if you can't govern your data, you can't train AI models on it and expect that to work. We've taken that open and unified foundation, and we've infused generative AI that allows you to easily scale and use data and AI, and this is what we call the data intelligence platform. It's a platform that continuously learns the structure of your data, even when you're not using it. The Databricks Intelligence Platform builds on that Databricks Lakehouse, which is starting from all the way down to data that's stored in cloud storage, but then we learn from all the metadata about the data and operate at that level to make sure that we can extend this to multiple different users and use cases. But we do this in a governed way in which we understand how these data sets are used, how they're consumed, and most importantly, how are they monetized. And on top of that, with this recent addition of our acquisition of a company called Mosaic ML, we've been able to take that to the next level by building that into the platform. So generative AI features that make Databricks much more effective for its users, but also brings in new users by extending a natural language interface to go interact with your data. In the past, you've needed technical skills. Somebody who knows how to write Python, somebody who knows how to write SQL, somebody who knows how to write Scala to go interact with these data sets. with generative AI built into the platform, you should be able to, as a business user, log in and quote-unquote chat with your data. And that's the experience that we've made possible. And in addition to that, we've also built the infrastructure for companies to build their own versions of large language models. And that's something that helps companies build generative AI applications that only they can build. One of the hallmarks of this strategy is what we call Project Genie, which is really extending the natural language interface to data to everybody in the enterprise, not just technical users. And all of this continues to be built on an open foundation. As a company, we absolutely hate one thing. It's vendor lock-in and proprietary formats. And we allow customers on this open foundation to go integrate with the tools that they that they have today or will invest in the future. Couple call-outs here. We announced a very strategic collaboration with Aviva. So those of you who are in the industrial or the process manufacturing space or the energy space, OSI Pi data forms pretty much the data gravity of your entire OT infrastructure. Today, you can bring in data sets seamlessly from Pi with context, keep the OT world and the data world synchronized in a way that you can go develop downstream AI applications and generative AI applications, be it in predictive maintenance, be it in renewable energy forecasting, be it in predictive quality control. And it's all possible because of this open approach that keeps data in open formats and standard interfaces to go create value from. In the manufacturing industry, we've shaped the data and AI strategies for the biggest brands in the business. Of the 12,000 customers we have over about 1,800 in this industry, and they come from every corner of the industry, be it in automotive, be it in discrete manufacturing, be it in process manufacturing, and even the companies that shape the supply chain. With AWS, we've done extensive amount of work with a number of customers that take value from not just the Databricks Lakehouse Foundation, but also now increasingly the ability to democratize data and AI to even business users. The first example of that is John Deere. John Deere, one of the largest companies in agricultural machinery, uses the platform to basically bring all of their product telemetry data from their connected tractors and distribute it and make it available to all the experts that understand how this equipment performs, how this equipment does not perform well, and understand what the best way to operationalize their predictive maintenance program is. With the platform today, Databricks delivers to Deere the ability to dispatch dealer support ahead of any maintenance issues that can happen, and what could be a really costly issue for John Deere customers is basically a non-issue, because fundamentally things that were happening in a reactive way and then would have taken 4 to 5 hours to get to the customer are now happening proactively. Within the hour, this support can be dispatched. Second example of this, while this gets adjusted, the second example of this is with Stellantis. It's a major OEM in the industry, and fundamentally, they're in this place where they have to grow beyond the platform. The automotive industry grows at the rate of vehicle deliveries, and that's not good enough. And in that market, in order for you to survive and in order for you to thrive, you have to find new ways of monetizing the data that's coming off of their vehicles, not just shipping cars. Now they're shipping SaaS products. Now they're shipping over-the-air updates to the latest technology features inside the car. And in order to really move at the pace of a software company, you need to be able to operate like a software company. And you have to treat the car as if it were a software product. And that's what we're able to do with Stellantis, where we are supporting over 50 million in acceleration in their connected services revenue, which is crucial to finding new growth vectors for that company. And last but not the least, Corning uses Databricks to operationalize what's the hardest thing to do in industrial AI, which is to replicate successes that you've had in one plant or a set of plants to a network-wide deployment. At Corning, we've been able to deploy computer vision models at scale across their global network to detect quality issues before they can happen and integrate this on their models trained on the cloud, integrated into the edge where decisions are made on whether a part is faulty or something that can pass quality checks and quality requirements. And with tighter emission regulations in almost every industry that Corning serves, this is a critical capability for them to be able to ship products and protect their brand reputation. So I'll leave you with this. My perspective on how to go about doing data-driven innovation is take all data and be able to generate really high-quality products. How do you do that when you have 700 silos and 700 different tools that your teams are going to go learn? Things that are too complex usually increase the bar for anybody to get started. Things that are simple, in our case, it's the Databricks approach of creating value from data, is much simpler because it's highly integrated with how you manage your data, and then you're able to build AI platforms and AI solutions on top of it. As opposed to seeing these two worlds as separate worlds, where you manage data in one area and manage AI in another area, the Databricks approach is to take data and completely integrate data management with the management and development of AI. And that's why we're so different when we help so many customers, leading customers in the world, achieve those kind of outcomes. But that's not enough. What that enables is the ability to take what you learn inside plants, right? So if you're operating a manufacturing facility, or regardless of which type of manufacturing you do, you have to be able to take all the data that you are having inside your plants and all the insights that you're gaining at the edge, but then be able to combine that with everything that's happening in the ecosystem around you. You have to understand how your supply chain is performing. You have to understand how the product is operating in the field. So really this question of, can I balance customer needs with asset efficiency? It's super critical to match that with what's happening inside the plants, with what's happening outside the plants. And that's the only way that you can set up yourself to go deliver new services out there in the field. Tell me, I've been in this industry for a while and I've done some really interesting work and I've been fortunate to do that. And the reason and the learnings from all of that has been that yes, you can think of and conceive of some nice idea to do with connected product data, but if you can't connect it back with what's happening in your operation, even if you predicted a maintenance event or you predicted when you should have sent a marketing email to a car owner, if you don't have the operations data to understand how I'm going to act on it, that's going to be fundamentally an investment that's not going to pay off as effectively as it should. So it's super important to realize the importance of making sure that data management and AI is completely integrated as opposed to having two different approaches. And then second, it's super important to realize that you can't just keep this data in the hands of technical users, people with technical skill. You have to have an approach where you democratize to business stakeholders. Let's be clear, data engineers do not solve battery health issues. Electrical engineers do. Software engineers do. Mechanical engineers do. And the data platform is not in the service of just data engineers and data scientists. They're a very, very important part of that. But at the end of the day, they have to serve the audience that's making the decision. And getting access to those data sets, whether they be raw, curated, or predictive or prescriptive, that chain cannot stop just with users that have technical skills. That has to translate over to the business side. And there is no other platform that can do this today other than Databricks. The result of all of this is more actionable, trustworthy information that takes advantage of your company's entire knowledge base. Today, most generative AI applications, and I'm sure there's a bunch of demos that you have been observing as we've been walking the halls at Hannover, Most generative AI applications are fundamentally looking up a PDF document and telling you what page and section you're going to go look at. That doesn't sound very smart to me, in my opinion, but I will give you this. It saves a bunch of time, but it does not build any trust with the users that are using it. What you actually want is have to build in the company's entire knowledge base into that answer. If you're a good engineer, let's take the example of a field engineer. If you're going and looking at an issue that's happening in the field, a very good engineer would ask 5 whys and a how. Looking up a PDF document and returning a page and section sounds really cool, but when you go to the second or the third question, it's going to fail because it has no context of what the technician before did or what's happening on the fleet, and it won't understand what any of your product telemetry data means, because when you have issues, the first thing you're going to look up is an error code, and if you can't tell what that error code means, you're gone. So my perspective on this is, as things move more and more towards production, you're going to need a way to really train these models on the company's knowledge base, and that does not happen if you think of data management and generative AI as two separate disciplines. I'll leave you with this. The time to invest in generative AI is now. So a lot of CIOs and CDOs that I work with, they always have this perspective to say, why can't I just wait for SAP or Adobe or all of these companies to just build generative AI features inside of their platforms? And that's fundamentally going to be my generative AI strategy. I have a lot of respect for anybody in a C-level title, but at the same time, the issue is this. If there's a customer support agent running an airline, or if there's a field engineer that's trying to go troubleshoot a piece of equipment, you're going to need to enable those people. And today, none of that, what they do, is available in a single interface in the first place. So generative AI being built into these applications is absolutely a part of your generative AI strategy. But what's going to help you differentiate is building the generative AI apps that give you outsized returns, and more importantly, provide you unique business value. And we've seen this time and time again. To me, generative AI is not the first technology revolution that we're going through. There have been so many before this one. And a lot of studies have happened on how do people capture value when there's a technological shift like this. And the first movers have a 200% higher value capture than late entrants. And I think this is what makes a very, very compelling case to go invest in generative AI now versus waiting on somebody else to solve for your business problems. So let's build your data intelligence platform. We can empower any industry use case, work with a number of partners. Many of them are in many booths here, and we will build a data intelligence platform that is capable of providing specific intelligence based on your specific data and your unique understanding and know-how, maintaining complete governance, security, and control of your information that makes you unique. Thank you very much.